is Wikipedia News Edition. On 14th episode is Ford. Ford Motor Company, commonly known as Ford, is an American multinational automaker that has its main headquarters in Dearborn, Michigan, a suburb of Detroit.
It was founded by Henry Ford and incorporated on June 16, 1903.
The company sells automobiles and commercial vehicles under the Ford brand, and most luxury cars under the Lincoln brand.
Ford also owns Brazilian SUV manufacturer Choler, an 8% stake in Aston Martin of the United Kingdom and a 32% stake in Jiangling Motors.
It also has joint ventures in China, Shandong Ford, Taiwan, Ford Leo Ho, Thailand, Auto Alliance Thailand, Turkey, Ford Amazon, and Russia, Ford Solars.
The alert verse is about to start entering audio.
The company is listed on the New York Stock Exchange and is controlled by the Ford family. They have minority ownership but the majority of the voting power.
Oh no, not this error message again, just like I did in episode 4. Well, looks like the program is crashed. I will choose start normally.
Welcome back. We'd like to apologize for causing technical difficulties already. Causing the technical difficulties screen froze, and yes, the system is crashed.
Anyways, let's continue. Ford introduced methods for large-scale manufacturing of cars and large-scale management of an industrial workforce using elaborately engineered manufacturing sequences, typified by moving assembly lines. By 1914, these methods were known around the world as Fordism.
Ford's former UK subsidiaries Jaguar and Land Rover, acquired in 1989 and 2000 respectively, were sold to the Indian automaker Tata Motors in March 2008.
Ford owned the Swedish automaker Volvo from 1999 to 2010.
In 2011, Ford discontinued the Mercury brand, under which it had marketed entry-level luxury cars in the United States, Canada, Mexico, and the Middle East since 1938.
Ford is the second largest US-based automaker, behind General Motors, and the fifth largest in the world, behind Toyota, VW, and Kia and General Motors, based on 2015 vehicle production.
At the end of 2010, Ford was the fifth largest automaker in Europe.
The company went public in 1956, but the Ford family, through special Class B shares, still retained 40% voting rights.
During the financial crisis at the beginning of the 21st century, it was close to bankruptcy, but it has since returned to profitability.
Ford was the 11th ranked overall American-based company in the 2018 Fortune 500 list, based on global revenues in 2017 of $156.7 billion.
In 2008, Ford produced 5.532 million automobiles and employed about 213,000 employees at around 90 plants and facilities worldwide.
The Henry Ford Company was Henry Ford's first attempt at a car manufacturing company and was established on November 3, 1901.
This became the Cadillac Motor Company on August 22, 1902, after Ford left with rights to his name.
The Ford Motor Company was launched in a converted factory in 1903 with $28,000, equivalent to $797,000 in 2019, in cash from 12 investors, most notably John and Horace Dosh, who would later found their own car company.
The first president was not Ford, but local banker John S. Gray, who was chosen to assuage investors' fears that Ford would leave the new company the way he had left its predecessor.
During its early years, the company produced just a few cars a day at its factory on Mack Avenue and later at its factory on Paquette Avenue in Detroit, Michigan.
Groups of 2 or 3 men worked on each car, assembling it from parts made mostly by supplier companies contracting for Ford.
Within a decade, the company would lead the world in the expansion and refinement of the assembly line concept, and Ford soon brought much of the part production in-house, vertical integration. Henry Ford was 39 years old when he founded the Ford Motor Company, which would go on to become one of the world's largest and most profitable companies.
It has been in continuous family control for over 100 years and is one of the largest family-controlled companies in the world.
The first gasoline-powered automobile had been created in 1885 by the German inventor Karl Benz. Benz patent motorwagen.
More efficient production methods were needed to make automobiles affordable for the middle class, to which Ford contributed by, for instance, introducing the first moving assembly line in 1913 at the Ford factory in Highland Park. Eddie, go!
Between 1903 and 1908, Ford produced the Model A, B, C, F, K, and R, and S hundreds or a few thousand, as most of these were sold per year.
In 1908, Ford introduced the mass-produced Model T, which totaled millions sold over nearly 20 years.
In 1927, Ford replaced the T with a Model A, the first car with safety glass in the windshield.
Ford launched the first low-priced car with a V8 engine in 1932.
Oh my gosh! Watch out, Andy!
In an attempt to compete with General Motors' mid-priced Pontiac, Oldsmobile, and Buick, Ford created the Mercury in 1939 as a higher-priced companion car to Ford.
Henry Ford purchased the Lincoln Motor Company in 1922 in order to compete with such brands as Cadillac and Packard for the luxury segment of the automobile market.
In 1929, Ford was contracted by the government of the Soviet Union to set up the Gorky automobile plant in Russia, initially producing Ford Model and AAs, thereby playing an important role in the industrialization of that country. Ford Germany, Ford's subsidiary in Germany, produced military vehicles and other equipment for Nazi Germany's war effort.
Some of Ford's operations in Germany at the time were run using forced labor.
The creation of a scientific laboratory in Dearborn, Michigan in 1951, doing unfettered basic research, led to Ford's unlikely involvement in superconductivity research.
In 1964, Ford Research Labs made a key breakthrough with the invention of a superconducting quantum interference device or SQUID.
Ford offered the lifeguard safety package from 1956, which included such innovations as a standard deep dish steering wheel, optional front, and, for the first time in a car, rear seat belts, and an optional padded dash.
Ford introduced child-proof door locks into its products in 1957 and, in the same year, offered the first retractable hardtop on a mass-produced six-seater car.
In late 1955, Ford established the Continental Division as a separate luxury car division.
This division was responsible for the manufacture and sale of the famous Continental Mark II.
No, people on the camera.
At the same time, the Edsel division was created to design and market that car, starting with a 1958 model year.
Due to limited sales of the Continental and the Edsel disaster, Ford merged Mercury, Edsel, and Lincoln into MEL, which reverted to Lincoln Mercury after Edsel's November 1959 demise.
Was introduced on April 17, 1964 during New York World's Fair, where Ford had a pavilion made by the Walt Disney Company.
In 1965, Ford introduced the seatbelt reminder light.
With the 1980s, Ford introduced several highly successful vehicles around the world.
During the 1980s, Ford began using the advertising slogan, "Have you driven a Ford lately?" to introduce new customers to their brand and make their vehicles appear more modern.
In 1990 and 1994 respectively, Ford also acquired Jaguar cars and Aston Martin.
During the mid to late 1990s, Ford continued to sell large numbers of vehicles in a booming American economy with a soaring stock market and low fuel prices.
Why is there technical difficulties and it's not black? Something went wrong. Oh, not again with this illegal operation message error. Now this system is going to be crashed again. Fudge nuggets.
one of the new century, legacy healthcare costs, higher fuel prices, and a faltering economy led to falling market shares, declining sales, and diminished profit margins.
Most of the corporate profits came from financing consumer automobile loans through Ford Motor Credit Company. We will continue about Ford in part 2, so stay tuned.